Dwayne, do you want to build a new theme park?
What are you going to theme it after?
Let's theme it after a little Nintendo, or maybe some new Disney characters. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. Each and every week, we take you through the news and trending social media topics and give our opinions of them, all before the beast hits the final brake run. We've got another 4 stories lined up for you today, 4 of the top news stories over the last few days and weeks. The first story that we're going to start with, but before we start with the news, as the gimmick of our show is Beat the Beast, we have to put the 4-minute and 10-second clock up on the screen, and we have to finish our discussion all before the beast hits the final brake run. So if we could put that clock up there, and there you have it. We are on our way. Our first story is the development and announcement of Shanghai Disney. In the past, new Disney parks have not been that overwhelming. You look at Euro Disney, kind of floundered for years. Hong Kong Disney, just finally this year started making a profit. And even things closer to home like Disneyland's California Adventure, not a huge home run. That a lot of people were saying that Disney kind of underwhelms when it comes to these new parks, but Shanghai Disney seems that it is going in a completely different route than that. That we saw the first renderings and first concept art coming out of Shanghai Disney, and man, it is fantastic. From the central piece castle that's going to be the biggest and most complex of any of the castles, with multiple floors, with a spiral staircase on the inside, even having a boat ride that goes all around Fantasyland, starting inside the castle. The castle looks to be amazing. Not only that we have different information on a new Pirates-themed ride that you may have seen the concept art for that with the huge gator that looks to be out of this world. And then, of course, I think my favorite piece of it is going to be the Tron roller coaster. I've been wanting a Tron roller coaster forever. It seems like a no-brainer to have some sort of moto coaster indoors inside the neon Tron universe. It's going to be fantastic. Everything I've seen so far looks like this could be the home run hit for Disney that they're looking for. Dwayne, what are your thoughts on Shanghai Disney?
He's Andy, by the way, and I'm Dwayne. He was so excited about this story, he forgot to introduce his non-student to be introduced anyway. But, going back to what you said, Andy, you said about like Disney's California Adventure, for example. I think people expected that to be more than what it was supposed to be. I think, and that was a major problem with that park, for example. But in regards to this one down in Shanghai, I mean, some of the things that I was looking at when I was reading the article, and the fact that they're really putting the Chinese people up front. They're trying to kind of integrate their culture and their society into the entire park. The whole idea of the 12 gardens or whatever, and that's supposed to be themed towards the 12 zodiac symbols. And so they're really trying to bring that in, something that Disney really does do, both in Florida, Orlando, over in Paris, places like that. So I think that's a major thing. But when we go back to these parks they tried to do in the United States, for example, they were more amusement parks, and I think people were looking for, is this going to be something like we already have at Disneyland, Disney World? And I think the expectations of people going into those parks were a little too high, and that might be the case for China. Is this really going to be something like Disney World, Disneyland, something big over there, or is this going to be something like Disney's California Adventure, where we are hyping it up to be something bigger than it really is going to be?
Yeah, and you know, the problem with Shanghai Disney is people are worried about a few things. You know, as always, you can check out the full articles of the news stories that we do here underneath in the comment section. But some of the concerns are, is it too close to Hong Kong Disney? That Hong Kong Disney just started turning a profit. Is now that part going to see a downturn because people are now going to go to Shanghai Disney to get maybe the better experience? Shanghai Disney is also near metropolitan areas. That you know, Disney parks are known for their seclusiveness. That you get that kind of like new world, that you're entering into that completely new world experience. And some people are worried that Shanghai Disney might not have that because you're going to be able to see the local surroundings. So there you have Beat the Beast. That time we did not beat the beast. You know, like I said, we only get 4 minutes and 10 seconds. But Dwayne, you're going to introduce our next story for us. So just tell me when to put up that clock.
You know, it's been a long time since we've really heard the word Intamin in regards to something coming to the United States. So let's put that 4 minutes and 10-second clock up there for us now. And as we begin to look at this story, you know, a couple years ago, I guess it's now been that we heard about the Polercoaster. You know, it's going to be the world's tallest roller coaster. It's going to be put up on this skyscraper. It's going to be on International Drive at Orlando. So we've all heard about this in the news before. But they just announced that we now know that Intamin is going to be the manufacturer, right, that is responsible for building the coaster parts on this skyscraper. So the Liechtenstein-based company, Intamin is going to be back in the United States. Now, we all know Millennium Force, we all know Maverick, we all know the great roller coasters that they built. Of course, they've done things in Orlando before. I think they've done Cheetah Hunt, they've done Falcon's Fury, so they've been in that part of our country before. So it's really interesting news because a lot of people in our community, the roller coaster community, we've gotten bogged down with the B&M. You know, that's been the past 5-6 years. It's really seemed to be the B&M revolution, and everyone's wondering, when is Intamin coming back? You know, we go back to places like Cedar Point, who worked with Intamin exclusively for a long time, but then there were some maintenance problems with Top Thrill, and there's some maintenance problems throughout the country with other rides, and it seems like Intamin's kind of slipped under the cracks a little bit. And I know you, along with other people, are expecting maybe Mack to get, to be involved in this country a little bit more. All right, Zier, some companies that are out there that we don't really talk about all that much, but it seems like we've been in that holding pattern of B&M for 5 or 6 years. So it is nice to me, and I kind of like this, that they're going to bring in Intamin for this project, because when it comes to big projects, with the exception of a couple of big B&Ms, when you think of tall, fast roller coasters, you think of Intamin, and I think that's what's going on here. So I think it's a good move. Again, I don't know, have they been away too long that people are going to forget about the maintenance issues? I don't know, but what are your feelings, Andy?
The whole thing, there's a lot of question marks. That this whole project, in my mind, had a lot of question marks to begin with. That it was never really super clear where the money was coming from. It wasn't really super clear on the overall goal and development of it. It seemed like a lot of big ideas that look really nice on paper and look really great on concept art, but may or may not actually come to fruition. And what concerns me about this news is that S&S was developing this ride system, not so much the actual pole, but basically the track and the computer system and the ride vehicles. My big question is, why did they drop out? I know they're doing a lot more recently, and if you've been listening to our rumor shows, maybe they'll be doing even more in 2016, maybe at Six Flags Great Adventure. Maybe they just don't have the time, or, the other option is maybe they don't think that the project is actually feasible, that they don't feel like there's actually going to be a payoff at the end of all their work, because the project may not even happen, that there's a lot of big ideas out there, and there's a lot of people questioning it, if it's actually going to happen. I don't know. I want to see it happen. I think Intamin is a pretty good choice. The other thing that concerns me, though, is that I have heard that the design of the track and the layout, specifically the layout of the track, is already set in stone. So, a lot of people say that Alan Schilke had a lot to do with that. You know him from RMC. That supposedly he had his hands in how that track was designed, and that when Intamin comes in, that they are not going to really alter that track very much, that track's going to stay the same. So, the question is will it actually be able to run the Intamin cars? What cars are Intamin even going to use? Are they going to use the Maverick trains? You saw the Polercoaster, video, and I know we lost the beast there, but it showed more of the the two-seat, the two across, or excuse me, the four across with two rows.
Right. Yeah.
Intamin doesn't have that, so how is this going to change, and how is it going to happen if it even happens? All those questions still out there with the Skyplex, commonly referred to as the Polercoaster by most of us. So moving on to our next story is about taking a trip to the other side of the country now, back to California. And this one has to do with Legoland in California. If we could start that clock again. Ba-ba-da-ba. And there you see it. A little sound effect for you, too. Legoland announced this week that they are going to create a whole new land at Legoland based on Ninjago. Now, Ninjago actually is one of their more popular franchises that we've seen, Legoland down in Florida add, new areas based on other properties, other mini spin-offs of the Lego mythology that they have. But Ninjago seems to be one of those that has been pretty popular since it's been released, and it's been years now. I don't really buy Legos as much, but I do stay, I have my ears kept down to the toy industry, and Ninjago is one of those things that's been around for quite some time. So I think it's very fitting that they add Ninjago into their catalog of rides, because there will be a new ride based in this new land, some interactive elements, of course, and a lot of people are saying that's a good move because especially in California, a lot of people say that Legoland is a little too kiddie for some people's taste, that Ninjago might raise that age level up, that, most people who go there, it's great for 8-year-olds and under. But once you get to, your kids being 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, early teens, it kind of loses its appeal. So maybe in California they need to, raise the age, and I think Ninjago might be the way to go. Dwayne, what are your thoughts?
I know that the cartoon is pretty popular. I know it's on Cartoon Network, and it seems to have a recurring season after season, so it's going to be popular. I'm not sure to what audience it's popular. I know that the Cartoon Network kind of, they have their late night stuff for adults. They've got the kids stuff. They've got the teen stuff. So is it in that range? Is it going to bring in a new, diverse type of audience, or is it just going to be something to bolster what's already there? That might be the biggest question that I have, because if you're trying to make money off of it, if you're just bringing in the same people that are already there, are you really making money off of that?
Yeah.
Or is this going to bolster a different audience where you're going to bring in an eclectic group that's maybe not really seen it before, and is this attraction going to be big enough to pull in that audience? So that's going to be the biggest question for me in something like this. I know Legoland, yes, is built mostly for children of young ages, families who want to take their kids there for a nice little summer day. But it almost reminds me of a Sesame Place or something like that is what that would remind me of. But I just, if you're going to build it, what type of attraction is it going to be? It's going to be a ride, but what kind of ride?
Yeah.
And is it going to, attract older, like our generation people, or is it just going to be for kids? Is it going to be a kiddie ride and just that? Because if that's the case, my opinion, the same group that's already going to that park is going to continue to go to that park, and you're really not making an advancement on that investment just by putting in Ninjago.
And to be honest with you, I having just been to Mall of America with Nickelodeon Universe, I thought that park did a great job of catering to different demographics. Yeah, it's all based on kids shows, but as an adult, even though I love Ninja Turtles and I've watched SpongeBob before, I thought their rides spoke to older kids and young adults as well, that there was enough there to do for all the ages that it really attracted me and was a success. So we'll see if Legoland can get that same success out there in California. And that time we did beat the beast, thankfully. But over the last few weeks, we've been doing a little segment called Buy or Sell with the Rumor Show, and there wasn't enough out there for a complete rumor show this week, but we do want to bring back this segment. So, Dwayne, if you could explain our next segment to us.
Well, just as everyone it seems that's been watching has been enjoying our rumor shows, you know that the object is that Andy and I are going to either buy or sell the rumor that's going on. And so once again, we're going to play buy it or sell it. So, buy it or sell it. So if we don't have enough for, all the rumors that we want to do, I'm going to send it over to Andy, and he's actually going to introduce our topic for today's one, buy it or sell it.
And as always, we have to start that clock for the 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And there you have it. So this week, we saw there's a heavy rumor going around that Universal is adding a third gate down at the Orlando Resort. Now this rumor is not new, that Orlando wanted to add a third gate somewhere. But some recent developments kind of brought this rumor back from the zombie rumor cemetery. And some things that happened was, one, they acquired Nintendo, so a lot of people are wondering where is that going to go. And two, they just decided to close Wet n Wild. And some people are beginning to wonder, well, what's going to go in its place over there? So some people are trying to put these three things together and trying to tie all these little pieces of information together and saying that Orlando within the next few years is going to develop a third gate based on the Nintendo property. So that is what we are buying or selling today. Will Orlando or Universal Studios Orlando, they will open up a third gate based on Nintendo. And Dwayne, I'm going to start us off here today, and I'm going to sell that completely. I don't buy the fact that they are going to open up this third gate simply because I don't know if the space is there. That I was talking to some good friends last evening, and we're all questioning, where is this going to go? Yeah, Wet n Wild is there, but it's certainly not enough room for a complete theme park. Where else are they going to put it? And I still believe that, like me and, Danny and Brian Bass discussed on an episode of Uncut, I really believe that Marvel is out the door and Nintendo is in. That's where it's going. I don't for a second believe that a third park is going to be developed based on Nintendo. Dwayne, what do you think?
I'm not going to, I want to sell it. Just like you, and maybe for the same reasons that you're saying, but they did put in Islands of Adventure, okay, but they've expanded upon Islands of Adventure, so they've added the Harry Potter land in, right? Yeah. So my biggest, and you've already brought up this point, but my biggest problem with this whole idea of their opening a third gate or a third park would be, where is it going? Just like you said, there's no room, and even taking out, what they've taken out or going to be taking out, it's nowhere near the size of what Islands of Adventure is.
Yeah.
And they've had to really stretch their area and really tighten, all right, just to be able to put in Diagon Alley and all the things that they've done with Harry Potter. And then they've had to, to add more flair to it, they had to do a connector train to try and bolster more, attendance to that part of the park as well. So I really don't see how they're just going to build this brand new park just themed on, something completely different. We talked about the Marvel before and now Nintendo, but I would like to see Nintendo going in. If they're going to just create a new area, a themed area, in a Nintendo place would work great. It goes back to what we were talking about with Legoland. I think it would attract multi-generations because Nintendo has been around since before I was born. Okay, it was made right around when I was born, and then people are continuing to play it. You know, you had the Wii generation, and I know people, a lot of older generations play the Xbox and play the PS4 and all that, but everyone knows Mario, everyone knows Luigi, everyone knows Nintendo, the brand, and I think that they can use that and then wrap stuff around it. But in regards to making a third gate, I'm going to sell it because it's not going to happen.
Well, and you know, the other piece of it was it wasn't just going to be just Nintendo. Some people were throwing in some Warcraft stuff in there too, which is also, you know, I know Warcraft is super huge, and they're going to have a new movie coming out pretty soon, but it just doesn't seem right. I think the markets are too niche for that. And there you hear the roar of the beast. I just don't feel it. You know, if they weren't going to do a third gate for Harry Potter, which I think would have made the most sense, I don't see them doing it for Nintendo/Warcraft. I do think Universal, though, would be very beneficial for them to create a third gate. I just don't know where, and I don't know when, and I don't know what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be Nintendo, though, because I think that will take over for Marvel. I'm still sticking by that. So as you can see, we've run out of time once again this evening on Beat the Beast. Thank you, as always, for joining us here. We love going over the news with you guys. Leave us some comments down below, subscribe to our channel, and take part of all the great things going on here at COASTER-net's Anniversary Week, that we have a ton of activities and videos lined up for the whole week. So please take part in all of them and watch all of them and learn some great new stuff and get involved. So as always, I am Andy Robarchek from Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Dwain Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And may the Q lines be ever in your favor.
Right on, Ride Warriors.